You are listening to Chapter 2, Lesson 3 of Form 3 African History. Cameroon General Education. Narrated by Wacheseh Academy. French and Assimilation. Meaning: it was the French colonial policy of Frenchifying the people and territory. It involved personal assimilation, transforming the Africans into black French citizens, changing their thought, eating, dressing, etc. It involved political assimilation, by which the colonies sent representative assimilation, by which the French colonies were regarded as French overseas provinces or departments. It was also economic, by which the resources of the colonies were integrated into that of the French. Why did the French introduce the colonial policy of assimilation? The policy was influenced by the ideas of liberty, equality, and fraternity born during the French Revolution of 1789. They didn't see why Africans should not be transformed into black French citizens. The French believed their civilization was most superior in the world, hence wanted to share it. To Frenchify the African colonies and transform the French overseas departments. To easily integrate the resources of the colonies to that of the French, for easy exploitation to develop France. To buy over the African elite and delayed the growth of nationalism. To easily make use of the labor force in the colonies to develop France. To make use of the people in the colonies to defend France in case of international aggression. To Frenchify the African natives, so that they will be very receptive to French goods. To increase French investment in the colonies and provide job opportunities to French citizens in the African colonies. How it was practiced in Senegal during the colonial periods. Those born in the four communes of Dakar, Rufisque, Gorée, and St. Louis was given French citizenship. The communes were regarded as an integral part of France. Those born in the four communes enjoyed fundamental human rights such as voting rights, governed under French law, exempted from indignant and forced labor. Each of the towns had the right to representation in the French Parliament. Each commune had its own elected council with a mayor as president. Those born outside the four communes were regarded as subjects. They did not enjoy the rights of French citizenship, could only become French citizens after having met the following conditions. Why the policy was not extended to the rest of French West Africa after 1905, reasons for the failure of assimilation. The colonies had several tribes with different cultures. It was not easy to suppress the various native cultures and impose French culture. Islam was very strong in West Africa, it was not easy to assimilate the Muslims. The French government could not open enough schools to train the natives to read and write French. The French did not possess the financial and personal resources to operate the policy. The absence of a good transport network made direct rule difficult. The absence of a good communication network made direct rule difficult. The policy was strongly opposed by French scholars, who regarded the policy as unwise and unrealistic. They feared assimilation will equate the Africans to the French, and that would lead to the destruction of the French Empire. The policy failed because the French imposed stringent conditions before the natives could become assimilated, whereas those born in the four communes in Senegal were given full French citizenship. The policy failed because it did not receive the support of African traditional rulers and institutions. Why the policy of assimilation was successful in the four communes of Senegal. The people had had long contacts with French settlers. High level of educational development there. For instance, in Dakar, there was a federal government college known as École Normale William Ponty. French traders and other settlers had long settled along the Senegalese coast, and the people had adopted French ways of life. The high level of economic development because of the presence of many French investors. The French regarded the four communes as an integral part of France. The high level of political development. The French had earlier given them the right to elect and send a deputy to the French Parliament. Merits of assimilation. Assimilated Africans enjoyed good jobs in the French civil service, which increased their economic and social status. The assimilated Africans were governed under French laws. It enabled Africans to gain seats in the French Assembly and to use it in the future to convince the conservatives to allow African states to gain independence. It made Africans absorb French cultures. It led to an increase in French investment in Africa. It led to the concept of negritude. African scholars like Senghor began writing to project and protect black culture from being destroyed by the French. Demerits. It made African elites become French stooges because they were brainwashed by the French to think they were Frenchmen. It led to the destruction of African culture. It caused division and conflict between the elites and the chiefs who were interested in preserving native culture. It facilitated French exploitation of African resources. It led to the establishment of a big French settlement in Africa. It retarded the growth of nationalism against French colonialism because elites were bought over by the French. It failed to recognize the authority of traditional rulers and institutions.